With the halachas of Havdalah, so we're moving on to Siman Reish Tzadi Zayin, which discusses the halachas of besamim. We know that one of the brachas we make during Havdalah is besamim on the incense. So why do we make a bracha on besamim on Motzei Shabbos? So there's two main reasons that are brought down. One is because we know that on Shabbos we're granted a neshama yeseira, an additional neshama, and therefore on Motzei Shabbos, the person would naturally be sad. He's now losing this neshama yeseira for a whole other week. As the Gemara tells us, that we say vaya of the nefesh, the person cries that he's losing out on his neshama yeseira, and therefore to console him, to comfort him, he makes a bracha on besamim to kind of lift his spirits. And the other reason that's brought down is once again, as we mentioned, that now that Motzei Shabbos has started, so Gehenom restarts. So in addition to apparently in addition to Gehenom being very hot, it also doesn't smell very good. So we try to we bring a good smell to kind of make the smell a little bit better in Gehenom. Okay, so the Shulchan Aruch says that although there is a mitzvah besamim, however, one does not have to go find one. So usually, most weeks, a person has besamim in his house. However, if for whatever reason the person does not have, or let's say he's away for Shabbos and he forgot, he does not have to go to the store to find clothes and to make a bracha, because again, as we mentioned, the whole purpose of this bracha is for because of neshama yeseira, and therefore, if a person doesn't have it, it's not the end of the world. Now, what's interesting about this is that we know that when the Shulchan Aruch discusses the halachas of what bracha, there's brachas of reach, the bracha smells. So there's different brachas that one makes. There's Borei Minei Besamim, Borei atzei besamim, Borei isvei besamim. Atzei means trees, isvei means grass, depending if it's an herb or it's more of a stick. So, although generally we differentiate, however, when it comes to Havdalah, regardless of what it is, you make a Borei Minei Besamim. And why is that? And the reason is because most people are not experts on which bracha is which. In fact, sometimes it's hard to differentiate between, if you go to the coastal on Friday night, so the Sephardim give out their different besamim, because they're very much, we mentioned, we're supposed to make 100 brachas, so you should always be, making lots of brachas on smells on Shabbos. So they give out this one, and sometimes if, they have to tell you, make an atzei on this, make an isvei on this, because if you don't know which one's which, you might make a mistake. And if you say the wrong one, so it would be a bracha l'talo, it would be a bracha in vain. And therefore, it's best to say Borei Minei Besamim. Why is that? Because Borei Minei Besamim is the equivalent of shahakol for smells. You know that shahakol need dvaron. If a person mistakenly says shahakol on any food, so he fulfills the obligation. Now, he's not supposed to do this, just because he doesn't know the bracha. He should try to find out. But if a person is in a really tight spot, then perhaps he could do that. Or if he mistakenly said shahakol, it works. So the same is true for Borei Minei Besamim. He says Borei Minei Besamim regardless of what it is, and this way it covers whatever it might be. Yeah.
So since the Havdalah before bracha there, it's basically considered one unit. Is that correct or not?
I'm sorry, one more time?
The bracha for Havdalah is considered one unit.
Yeah, part of the seder that they instituted.
So if one is unable, what you said in the beginning, if one is not able to buy the spices, have them.
Yeah.
So does he make a bracha on them then if he doesn't have it?
No, if he doesn't have it, he wouldn't make a bracha. He only had, exactly. He only makes the bracha when he has it.
You can still avoid that one bracha.
I'm sorry?
Even though it's considered one unit,
Havdalah, only when you have it. And we're going to see the same as with Aish. That's the next simon. We're going to talk about when bracha on the candle will be the same thing. That's also. However, the Mishnah says that although technically if a person is left with something he would normally make a Borei atzei besamim, he never likes Minei Besamim. However, it's preferable to find something that would be Borei Minei Besamim, and we'll discuss that later. And we're going to see that the custom is actually to try. Ideally, a person should take the hadass that we're going to have from the lulav, and combine it with besamim, and that's really that's the preferable way of doing it. We're going to see that in just a little bit. And the next halacha the Shulchan Aruch says is that besamim has to be that something is there for a positive smell. It has to be that something for a good smell. However, if it's only for the purpose of removing a bad smell, so often what they would do is if there's a corpse on a deceased body, so naturally when it decomposes it has a foul odor, so they would put some type of besamim to kind of remove that smell. So that besamim is disqualified for the bracha, because the bracha can only be said, the Mishnah bracha tells us, on something which is there for a positive smell, not to remove a foul odor. And not only that, it also can't be from a party of non-Jews, because we assume that they might have used it for avodah zarah. And the Ramah adds that if one did go ahead and make a bracha of besamim on these things, one would not be fulfill his obligation, and he would have to recite it again. And one last thing, that we do not make it on Minei Besamim, which is you take oil and you put a besamim in and you remove it. So we do not make a bracha on that, nor do we make on tabak. What's tabak? So if you go to Chassidus Shtibel, you'll see it's like they call it snuff, right? Tabak. You know what the tabak is. So we do not make that, because why is that? Because that too it has an inherently foul odor, and they just stuff it with I don't know, what do they have, banana liquor and all the different flavors. So that too is considered to just be removing a foul odor. The tobacco apparently has a naturally foul odor. So those two one should not use for besamim. And Yom Kippur is interesting. So Yom Kippur, we mentioned that the whole purpose is for the neshama yeseira, right? To come for the person for the neshama yeseira. Now, why do we get neshama yeseira? Why do we get an extra soul on Shabbos? So Rashi famously tells us so you can enjoy more food. That's the purpose of neshama yeseira. It's surprising, right? But that's the purpose. So in which case, if it falls out on Yom Kippur, if Shabbos falls on Yom Kippur, obviously we're not going to be eating. So according to that's why we do not make a bracha of besamim after Yom Kippur, because he did not eat that day. However, let's say if for whatever reason a person fasted on Shabbos. Now normally we're not supposed to fast on Shabbos. The only time that a person allowed to fast on Shabbos is if he had a bad dream, such a bad dream that it qualifies for making a tainis chalom, a fast for this bad dream to kind of atone so that nothing bad should happen to him. In such a case, he would fast because there he did have the neshama yeseira. It's only on Yom Kippur when he's forbidden to fast, and all the Jewish people are forbidden to fast. Then there's no besamim on Matzei Yom Kippur.